Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John. The report is for the 8th of October. And well, we had the obviously blue buy candle here with our dip of orange. We still were seeing some short weakness within this, but you had the president returning back, recovered, posting videos about how these wonderful therapies have done excellent for him. We had seen the checkout already improved on that first dip and really turned things around. Now we've met with our magenta and green at this particular stage on rising power Mo2 directional. So the directional movement has been straight up with this, going all the way back from right when it crossed over, right over here. Boom. So we had the break up, as you sort of speak, and if we get a rejection coming out of here of magenta higher, and you can see the propulsion all the way back up to that 35 range, 3570s. I mean, it was almost 36 at that point, and that would be the first sign of a turnaround and market expectation of things moving in the right direction. So we've recovered from the whole no more negotiation to then Trump was talking about just sending standalone bills, and it would appear that there are some in the market believe that that is a possibility that could happen, but you're sort of running out of time now before anything to take place during the election. Nobody's going to be motivated to do much of anything, despite the fact that people need assistance. From an NQ standpoint, I'm not showing you quite the same coloration there, but you still had the same signal from the Power Mo as well as the DOC. In fact, it was even a little bit better for a while where you had the green above sign and then kind of separated. And it's kind of been the malaise that we're in this. Of course, sort of you look at that and you're just kind of like, yeah, sideways. And it's exactly what we were getting from steel, cyan. There was just this fight back and forth between the weak number of shorts and short-term buyers. There was literally nobody doing anything else other than just supporting price as it just kind of floated across. And that's what we've seen for the last few days, but that's going to start to change now as we get to the next debate coming in here. You've got the post-COVID, and we start to see if there's any movement in polling. It is interesting. From the looks of things, we're really on pace for the same look as 2016, just from an empirical standpoint. I know that all your polls are going to show that Biden has a huge lead, but when you start to look at them state by state, he's actually underperforming some of what Hillary Clinton's numbers were in the same states: Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. And if history tells us anything, you just have to decide, and this becomes the only real make or break. Is Trump more or less popular in those places? Because like in Pennsylvania, where Hillary had a 9-point lead going into the election and ends up losing the state, you're like, okay, well, if Biden is only up, 6.5, he's performing, 3 points lower than she was. So those are kind of the metrics that I think some of the market players are employing when they're looking at this. So the idea of status quo and post-election stimulus, you could get people wanting to buy that early. Euro still flat. That one, same with gold at this particular stage. We've been in sort of this malaise, but and that's been a lot of it simply because there's just no clarity as to a direction of any kind of movement. Looking at 5K here from our current standpoint, what we had was the nice run up off the buy, which was also a dip of cyan below red, which again is also that always buy setup. It is interesting when we get these above the 76% range. I'm always looking for my magenta candle at those, because that tends to happen quite frequently where you get the dip below and then a magenta for your fill back in, and those usually tend to be fairly decent dips, at least to the 50% ranges. You can see that took place here. There was one right over here. Same situation, actually went all the way down to the 23%. That one, this one followed just shortly after. Didn't really make any movement until the second one. Really just kind of held its own going through there. So it's just something to point out. In this particular case, we had positive extremes, and that's exactly what we filled back just a fraction below what the positive extremes were at that particular stage, which is around 34.16 range. We ended up with another series of them right around 34 that this didn't quite get it down to because we had that rising zero Morganacci where we then hit the 50%, which was slightly higher. It would have been pretty much right on the money with it. So there's the potential for that one to still fill back, which is not that far away, less than 20 points. But again, gets us relatively close to that same spacing that the algorithms have been pretty consistent with. So we're just going to continue to build new lines as we go. From an intraday standpoint, it was pretty straightforward. I mean, we just shot up there early. You had a couple little short signals that just really didn't do a whole lot of anything. They weren't horrible either because if you just held on to them long enough, you got about as much movement as you got from the upside. It wasn't until later in the day when that shift took place again, and then it just started to buy up and moved up towards the peaks. So that's where we're currently at. We're going to continue to do probably more of the same today. Fallout from the VP event. Again, interesting, not really as relevant. There were no major, you want to say, inconsistencies. So people who thought one way probably still thinking the same way. So it's kind of like a, no one imploded construct, which I think keeps the status quo going. And the status quo for the market at this particular point is, no matter what, there's going to be future stimulus. So the question is just how much and who it goes to based on the election. So the markets, in their view, is a win-win. As always, though, trade well. I put all any additional charts and stuff on the Skype chat. We'll talk again later.